Volleyball started for me when I was, I think, around the age of 9. I did like City League and recreational volleyball. I started club when I was 12, and I just played locally. I played with the Snake River Juniors, SRJ, here, and I did clinics all around the Pacific Northwest, and yeah, that's how it began. My family did a lot growing up. I did, I think, every sport, from like cheerleading, soccer, tennis, basketball, all of that fun stuff. My sister and I did like volleyball, like rec together, and then when we went into high school, she went more cheerleading, dance, and I went more competitive into volleyball and other sports as well. My little sister does play volleyball. She started when like about the same age as I did too. So yeah, volleyball, it's always been a big part, especially when we travel. It was crazy when I did club and my little sister did club, and then, you know, we had our seasons always together, and so we were all going like different directions all the time, and that's kind of how it is now, like especially now when we're traveling like hours away. But yeah, volleyball's always been a big part of our family, for sure. My injury happened during warm-ups of my senior year of high school. So it was our first game. We hosted the Judy Fong volleyball tournament in honor of Kai's wife, the tennis coach here. And we were warming up, and they called starters, and we ran around, did the high fives, and I tripped over a teammate's foot, actually. And that's how I came down and broke my ankle. Tracy was great. She was with me the whole time I was there, and my parents actually left, so they weren't there when I got injured. And I ended up breaking my ankle. I had a lesion in my talus, and so all of my medical stuff happened up in Pullman. I didn't do any of that here, so I was out for season. So I was on crutches for like 2 months, and so volleyball was over for me. I didn't know if I was going to play like in college. I was starting the recruiting process for volleyball and tennis, but at that point I kind of just, it'd been a long time since I'd touched a ball, and the recovery was already 12 months, so I kind of stopped that, and that kind of just became like old news. I wasn't pursuing college anymore after that moment. And then I got off crutches, and I went and got a checkup, and my lesion got 2 times bigger in my foot, so I ended up having to schedule surgery that January. And yeah, so I had surgery. I was on crutches for another 16 weeks. I ended up showing my pig at fair on crutches, which was a crazy experience. I got, round 1, I got taken out, and so someone had to come and like hold me up, and I was just, you know, guiding my swine with my crutches, which was actually kind of fun. I mean, I was still competitive with it, but I mean, I was just there to participate and like be a senior. You know, I'd been doing 4-H for 9 years, and you know, I was president, and so it was kind of like my last hurrah. And then day 2, they stuck me in my own little pin, and I kind of just sat there and answered the question so I wouldn't get hurt anymore. But I did homecoming on crutches as well. I was ASB secretary, so setting all of like the homecoming events up, from the games to the dance, to all dances actually my senior year. I was on crutches. I got carried homecoming because I like couldn't walk with my dress and stuff, and everything turned out perfectly, but my whole senior year I spent in a boot. I had surgery right away after the first of the year. I had to say goodbye to tennis, so I didn't get to do tennis anymore, and that was almost more heartbreaking than volleyball, to be honest, because I still had that season in sight. I didn't want to like let go because I was still in the spring, and like no senior wants to work super hard, and I wanted to return to state and like place for tennis, but I didn't get the opportunity to. And I didn't get off of crutches until, man, right before graduation. I think I got off a week before DECA Nationals, which was fabulous. I went in the boots still, but I got to walk across, you know, the stages and everything for DECA, so that was pretty great, and I got to go to prom without crutches or a boot. So yeah, we made progress by the end of the year, but I definitely spent most of my senior year just trying to recover. So the end of my senior year, I kind of decided that I was, you know, going to stay in town at least for a few years before I moved. my mom got diagnosed with ductal carcinoma breast cancer halfway through my senior year of high school, and so that became very real right after graduation for me. And so my family was kind of transitioning with that. We sold our house my senior year at the beginning, and so we were building. So we were trying to like build a house. We were in like a split entryway. I was on crutches. Like the whole living situation was kind of a mess in my family. And then my mom had to start chemotherapy right away. And so I stayed in Lewiston, and I became like a big part of helping out around the house. My parents asked me not to get a job or anything, just to be a student, to be home as much as I could. I was working shift work out at Clearwater Paper after my senior year, so I was on my 12-hour night shift when Coach Pullman sent me a text and asked if I wanted to be a student assistant. And I had no idea how he got my number. I did a camp with him, I think, right when he got here. I think it's like his first summer into his first year. And so he found my information through there. And I was so excited because I hadn't touched a volleyball in, over a year at that point. And I really wanted to be a part of this atmosphere, like especially at the collegiate level where I gave that up. I didn't see myself pursuing that anymore after I got injured, and then it kept getting worse. And so he sent me a text and asked me if I wanted to play an important role, but not a physical role. And I said yes right away.
I just asked a bunch of questions. What is it that, what interests you? What's your future like? And if, what I'm looking for whenever I'm doing that is, how can we help you? Because if we're not giving you exchange for your services, then how can we help you in other ways? And she said she wanted to be a motivational or a public speaker. That was an important thing for her. She loved fitness. She loved the game. She obviously loved LC and Lewiston, being in the area. And so it was just like all these green flags started hitting. And then just, when I first talked to her, she's like, yeah, I'm working out at the mill. And, so this is a kid who's, she's working, she's earning her way in life. And she just had so many great characteristics and such good character and good qualities about her, that it was just like green light, green light, green light, green light to have her helping out.
It was an escape kind of away from my home life. I have an amazing home life, but like my mom was starting chemo, and it was a nice break away from reality here, especially since we had Coach Liv and Ross here at the moment. They played a big part in my freshman year here, and I fell in love with the program here probably less than 3 weeks in. Like everything Coach Pullman stands for, everything this program stands for, like where he wanted to go, the connection with the girls and the coaching staff. Like I didn't know that a team could be this good, be this close. It's not something I grew up around. It's not something I was familiar with. So I was very blown away by the culture here, and the culture now is far better than it was my freshman year. So I don't know how somebody could come in and just not love it. Like I absolutely loved it, and I wanted to be more. Like this program saved my life, and that sounds so overdramatic, but like it's so true. Like I gave up so much in that year before, and then there was so much uncertainty with my mom, and it was a very scary time period in my life for sure, that whole year. And volleyball just gave me a sense of peace, and it gave me goals and ambitions outside of everything that was going on around me and like everything at home. And I gave him exactly a week after conference ended. And I marched into his office, and I knew before preseason was over that year, like I knew that I wanted to be a part of this, and I wanted to, touch a volleyball again, and I wanted to play because I just saw the way he coached and the way he handled his players and encouraged them, and I just knew that this is a program that I wanted to be a part of. And so I've never done anything like this before, but I marched into his office just so determined, and I sat down. I was just kind of like, hey, how's your day? And he's like, okay, what's up? I requested a meeting as a student assistant, with the coaching staff, and he was kind of like, what's going on? And I was like, I told him my story with volleyball, and my love-hate relationship with volleyball growing up, and I told him that I wanted to be a part of this program and I wanted to play volleyball again, and I told him how hard I was going to work and how hard I was willing to work, and I was going to do everything he told me, like if he gave me the opportunity. And I just poured my heart out how much like this program changed my life. And I don't, like, he obviously unintentionally like meant to have that effect on me, but I sat there and I told him like everything, like how I felt and what I wanted, and I was kind of demanding but like asking, you know, for his advice. And he just kind of looked at me for a while, and I was like scared, and I was kind of crying a little bit because it was very emotional. And he was like, "Kid, I'll do whatever it takes to get you back on the court again." And I just started sobbing, like I was bawling. I did not expect that from him.
The last thing that I had said to her before she left, I said, "Ash, I need you to know this. I will not give this to you. You are going to have to earn it. And I'm not going to beg you to be here. I'm not going to, you know," and it's not that I thought that she needed that, but I needed that. I needed to be able to know that, you know, that she wouldn't come back to me and say, "I thought you were going to help me." I needed to make sure all the onus was back on her, that if she was going to do anything, she was going to be the one to earn it. And whatever that meant whether it was with us or with somebody else. And so I just said, "I will not give this to you." And I said, I don't think it's fair to you. And honestly, I think that if it's given to you and it's free, so to speak, I think that you're not that type of person. You got to be somebody that works for it and that you earn it. And she agreed and said, "Yeah, I wouldn't want you to just give it to me, but I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to do what I can."
And then COVID hit and everybody left. So I got to train for about a month with the team, and then they all got sent home, and I stayed and trained. I wasn't on the roster or anything, so I got to be here and train. I touched a volleyball every day for months and months, and I just worked on simple ball control against a wall. I did all the workouts. I watched videos nonstop. I came in and did skill work for hours with some girls that were still here, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was very distraught when COVID hit, because it's like, okay, am I going to stay here and be a student assistant? Am I good enough to stay here, hopefully? Or like, am I going to go to a JUCO? Like, schools are closing. Like, will they let me come play? Like, I had no idea what the future entailed. It was a roller coaster of emotions, going like into the end of my freshman year. My mom had just gotten done with her big surgery, so I was at home doing a lot of that, and so COVID really worked out for me, honestly, in the end, because I got to stay here and train, and I got to be home. My mom did 6 weeks of radiation up in Spokane, so I drove her to and from Spokane every day. And she had a few other surgeries along the way, and so it worked out. I just got to train. I did online school like everybody else, and then I got to take care of my mama at home, and so it worked out perfectly, honestly. And then by the end of July, he slid me the contract, and I signed to be here, and I absolutely love it. Like, I love this program and everything. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. Like, everything was so, like, there were so many questions, and I did everything so blindside. Like, nobody does the approach that I did to be here, or to be a college athlete, or to take 3 seasons off and then go to a 4-year, because our volleyball season got pushed to the spring. And so not only did I get to stay and train that spring to summer, but I got to train and build my skill work all the way from the fall to the winter until spring season. So honestly, it worked out perfectly. Like, COVID did a lot of things to a lot of people, and people put a negative aspect and take a negative approach when talking about COVID, but I loved COVID. It was amazing for me. It allowed me the opportunity to be present in my family life and to grow as an athlete. And Coach Pullman stuck with me the whole way, and just constant encouragement and motivation. And I definitely had a handful of hearts to hearts where I thought, okay, like, I don't know if I can do this or not. Like, I was so scared, and there were so many tears, and I documented the whole entire thing. Like, in a journal, and I wrote down all the things that I've been learning, and I just went home and studied it because I wanted it so bad. Like, I never wanted anything so bad in my entire life than to be a part of this program and to wear red and blue and, you know, warriors between my shoulder blades. It was my dream that, you know, I wanted to be a college athlete, but it fell through, but it allowed me the opportunity to be home, and I'm very grateful for that. And the approach that I took to get here has made me who I am, and I'm very strong, and I'm very deliberate with what I do, but I'm also very grateful for everybody, especially Coach Pullman and Coach George, Liv and Ross, who were here as well, and then Coach Drew just came in and made an amazing impact on this program. So thanks to them, like, I'm here, and it's like the biggest gift was the opportunity that he gave me to show up and to play, and allowing me to come back after, you know, a rough day of training. And he's never stopped believing in me, and which is amazing because it was definitely a hard road. And you know, I don't suggest that people do it, but honestly, like, anybody can do it if they want it that bad. And it sounds cheesy, but it's something that I solely believe in. Like, if you want something, like, go for it and, like, demand it.
At some point, Ashlee figured out that it doesn't matter what her circumstances were. It didn't matter whether she couldn't, didn't matter if she thought other people could or that she didn't think she could or couldn't. At the end of the day, she just had to put pedal to the metal, green light, go, 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 and just give it her best on the regular, and whatever happened, happened. And she stopped worrying about what if, and that just changed everything for her. She went from the possibility of being on our team to just excelling and going for it.
I believe it was 936 days since I played a volleyball game. And I was very shaken. I figured that out right before, because we were like, oh, the Warriors haven't been here in 352 days or something. And I was like, wonder how long I haven't been on the court. So I looked it up from the moment I got injured, and it was 936 days since I played a volleyball match. And I didn't expect to play. We were very limited last year due to a lot of injuries, but I played quite a bit last year, and I just remember just giving it my all. And I cried every game after, you know, we were finished with the day, because we had 2 matches in a day last year due to COVID, and I would just sit outside and cry, like, call my mom, because even though I was local, she couldn't watch me play, which was very heartbreaking for her and my family. But I just cry on the phone, and I was like, Mom, like, I played a volleyball game, like, you know, I wasn't perfect, but like, I made it, and it was just that first weekend back, like, knowing how long it'd been, almost 1,000 days since I played volleyball, and it's just looking back on my journey, it was overwhelming. And all of season last year, it was a short season. It was a very intense season, and the team went through a lot. But yeah, 936 days was a lot of days. It was a lot of days, and I didn't know until right before I played. I wasn't counting the days at all. I was just counting down towards the moments where I could play. But yeah.
You could see that. You could just see her just go for it, and there wasn't a whole lot of hesitation. And I remember the first weekend going, okay, like, I had a sense of pride. Now, was she the best player out there? No. But was this a kid that had missed 3 years that was hanging? That was, it was a Rudy-esque sort of player and situation. And who wouldn't be proud of that? You know, as a coach, as a team, as a community, who wouldn't be proud of that?
I'm so amazed that I get to be here. Like, on game day, like, when we're doing the national anthem, I just, like, reflecting on everything. Like, my mom was going through cancer, and I was fighting to be a college athlete, and there was just, my future was so blindsided for so long, and I didn't play volleyball for 3 years, and here I am. So yeah, it was quite a journey. It is a huge part of my life and who I am, and I'm very in awe when I look back on it. Like, I'm so grateful I wrote everything down, because so much happened, and it's given me a platform, I guess, to tell my story, which I'm very grateful for as well. I hope, like, people can be inspired by what I've done, and I didn't do it with grace, but I did it with a lot of heart, and that's what got me here. If you would ask me what the Warrior Way meant growing up in Lewiston before I became a student here, the vision I had, like the insight I had of being a Warrior was so different. This is a baseball town, and we're notorious for the World Series and stuff, and I knew the coach prior to Coach Pullman growing up here. I adored her as a woman. She was very encouraging to me as an athlete, and so like the Warrior Way to me meant like just to work hard and to give it your all. It wasn't until I became a student here and became a part of the volleyball program, and I got to see what it was actually like inside the walls, that it's just about being resilient, that it's about putting your head down and working. It's about like giving your all on and off the court, but we're so big into community. So it's about giving back. It's a very selfless type of culture, the Warrior Way is. It's about being successful, but like you're not successful unless you touch the lives of other people. This is a program that saved my life. It means showing up every day and being grateful for what you have and for the opportunity to play. We have so many great athletic department people who work here, so many great coaches who connect with us athletes and who give us a chance constantly. I mean, it's having so much pride in your program and in your sport and in your team, and just wanting to share that with the community. Like the Warrior Way to me is so intense and it's so heartfelt, and it's being proud of the life you live, because you get to show up and you get to play the game you love with like your best friends, and it's about that connection, it's about that family culture, but it's also about the grind and the constant need to be better. It's about not being okay with mediocrity, but wanting to be the best person and be the best athlete you can be. And I think that somebody who embodies the Warrior Way is proud to put on that jersey and wear red and blue and to represent Warriors and wear that name between their shoulder blades. And it's something that I will be forever grateful for, and it's a part of who I am now. And it kind of built who I was. It's kind of the foundation for who I am. I got the opportunity to rebuild my athletic career and to build who I was as an athlete, and I got the chance to start over, and I wouldn't have chosen a different program. And I'm so grateful for everybody who's surrounded me, because the Warrior Way is an overwhelming feeling, and I think that everyone who comes in and watches, kids, the community, when we travel, they can see the connection and they can see the pride, and I'm so proud to be a part of that.